Hello everyone, this is Anand and you're watching Career Talk. In last couple of videos, we have discussed about some of the factors impacting the salary, things like your skills and demand, etc. And we've also seen what are the top emerging job profiles, right? What are the things which are going to be in demand in future? So that is what we have seen till now. What we are going to see today is how are these salary packages configured, right? When we say a CTC, what does a CTC mean? What are the various components of the CTC, right? From the base salary to one-time bonus to variable pay to stock options, right? Do really people understand what these things mean, right? And sometimes there is a confusion in terms of what you will get as one time versus what you will get year over year, right? So we'll look at all those factors. We'll also look at some of the things which are important in negotiations, right? So what is a power position? How do you take a power position in an interview, right? What are the things that you should negotiate for versus what are the things that you should not rely on more or not stress on more, right? So we'll look at all of these things. If you are looking for a job change in near future, or if you know somebody who is looking for a job change, then this video will be extremely helpful. So let's first start and look at what are some of the components in the CTC and how to read them. Once we have analyzed these, we'll come back and talk about the power position and what are the terms on which you should negotiate and what are the things on which you should negotiate, right, with the HR or the recruiter. All right, so let's get started. Now let's take one example to understand how the CTCs are configured. You might have heard from some of your friends or colleagues that they have received offers like 50 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 70 lakhs per annum, right? What actually it means is that they have received that offer, but it actually does not mean that the offer is per annum, right? So let's say if somebody has a CTC offer of 39 lakhs, it means that the cost to company is 39 lakhs. It does not mean that the annual component is actually going to be 39 lakhs. So for that, let's understand the breakdown, right? So the CTC breakdown has several components. Some of these components are base salary, performance incentive, joining bonus, and stock or equity, right? There's some of other benefits, some other benefits like medical, mediclaim, insurance, and things like that, which are not included. But these are the primarily the four components, right? So base salary is actually your salary, which is going to be annual and fixed component, and this is going to be your recurring salary every year, right? Perso- Performance incentive is going to be your annual recurring amount, but this is going to be a variable component. So it does not mean that you will get this 100%. It again is based on things like company performance, your BU performance, and things like that. So this may vary. Sometimes you may get more than 100% if you are a top performer, right? And if the company is also doing great, but otherwise you may not even get 100%. So this is a variable component, right? Then there is something called as a joining bonus, right? Joining bonus is actually a one-time payout, right? So company may pay you a few lakhs as a joining bonus, but what generally they do is they don't pay it in one shot. Sometimes they pay it over a period of 2 years, and again after the 2 years this amount will does not and after 2 years this amount does not exist, right? Fourth is the most interesting part, which is the equity. This is something where they will give you stocks, right? And these again are not paid in one shot. These are, let's say, paid over a period of 3 years or 4 years, and each company will have its own vesting plan, right? So in a nutshell, what we are saying is that your recurring annual fixed component, which is your base salary, is the key, right? Because rest everything is either performance based or is a one time payout or is a payout which is over a period of few years. So now if we take this example of 39 lakhs, let's see how this distribution will look like. So the base salary will be somewhere around rupees 12 lakh per annum, right? So that's your fixed component. Performance intensive incentive is, let's say, 20% of the base salary, right? Which comes to 2,40,000. But then again, as I said, right, this is not guaranteed. This may vary based on company performance as well as the individual performance. The third, which is the joining bonus, here is, for example, rupees 3 lakhs, right? But this again will not be paid out in one go. This will be paid 50% at the time of joining and the remaining 50% on completion of 1 year. So, the companies actually want you to stay for a longer time, and that's why they kind of spread out these amounts. And last but not the least, the stock or the equity, right? Which in this case is rupees 22 lakhs. Again, paid over 4 years with 25% vesting after 1 year, and rest in equal amounts in the coming few years, right? So this is how your CTC of 39 lakhs will look like, right? And this is just one example or one sample, right? It does not mean that it necessarily has to be this way. Different companies may have different configurations, and things may vary. But the whole idea of sharing this information here is to clarify that when somebody says that my package is 39 lakhs, 40 lakhs, it actually does not mean that they get that much of money every year, right? It has all these components. It actually at the end of the day is a lot of money. Let's not run away from that fact that this is a big amount. But then this big amount does not mean that you're getting all of it every year, right? Things will change as you move on. Sometimes the variable component will change, and sometimes the stocks may also change. You may get more stocks, right? And things like that. But the idea is to understand this holistically, and you know uh, make yourself ready uh, to receive or reject an offer based on the various components that you see.
Now that we have seen how the salary packages are configured, what does the CTC mean, and what are the various components and their significance, let us talk about the negotiation, right? So one thing, and which is very basic, while it is very difficult to implement, which I would like to suggest is that in the HR interviews, try to not give away your numbers, right? So when somebody asks you what is your current salary, right, don't jump into answering that question up front, right? Try and hold on, don't answer that question in the first go. Or the recruiter may ask you things like what is your expectation, right? Again, that's a question for which you may or may not know the answer, right? You may have asked some of your friends in terms of what salary they are getting or what should you expect, but actually we are not trained. At times we really undervalue ourselves and quote one number, which then is taken by the recruiter as a base number, and then the negotiation begins from there. So instead of answering a question like what do you expect or what is your current salary, you should in turn ask a question back to the recruiter in terms of what is the job role about, and what is the pay scale in your organization that you pay for that job role, right? So for that position, what is your company ready to pay? Irrespective of what is my salary or what is my expectation, the hiring company always has a pay scale, right? And they want to hire within that pay scale. So what are the lower and upper limits of that pay scale? So you should go into that side of the conversation rather than quoting a number yourself. That will always help you bargain better, or negotiate better for that matter, right? So these are simple things which you should do. A couple of more important things, right? One is, are you in a power position? When you're doing these various rounds of interviews, you sometimes get that hunch feeling that you are doing well and they will definitely hire you, right? So that's where you are in a power position, and this is where you need to use your negotiation skills better, right? Because if you have a generic skill which is available in the market, right, where the employer can hire, or the employer can find 10 more candidates, then probably you are not in a power position. But if your skill is really special and if you have shown that in the process, then you are in a better position to negotiate. While you have realized that, what is more important is that you don't bracket yourself within a percentage, right? Within a percentage range. When I say that, what it means is if you're earning 12 lakhs, don't go by the experiences of others and then quote that okay, I want 25 to 30% or 40% hike. So if I am earning 12, give me 15, 16 or 17. Don't be limited, right? Because most of the times we are limited by our own imagination, right? And our imagination, our thoughts are built by the information that we gather from various sources. My suggestion is gather information, analyze information from various sources, from your friends, from your ex-colleagues or colleagues, or from various websites. But then don't form a range. Always go beyond the range. So when you're in a power position, always quote a number that you yourself feel is unrealistic. Okay, and just smile at yourself. Sometimes people are saying, oh, am I joking, what kind of number am I asking for? But the point is, you really don't know what is the employer ready to pay. Okay, if the employer has real desperate need, and if they have a good pay scale, they may actually pay you on the higher side of the scale, or at times take some exceptional approvals and pay you more than the scale as well. So it all depends on the situation, it all depends on the demand. But if you are being if you are being very naive, and if you quote a very small number, then there are chances that you will lose an opportunity to make big. Okay, so remember, always go beyond your imagination. Always quote 1 or 2 lakhs beyond what you think you are worth, or beyond what you think is possible. It always works. One more thing which you should do is that uh, concentrate on the base salary. So always talk about negotiations on the base salary. Always try to get a higher base salary. Now this is not rocket science, but what happens is, when we negotiate, the recruiter will actually be very flexible, and he'll try to give you more stock options, or he'll try to give you more variable pay, because those are the things which are not certain, right? You cannot expect, or you don't know, or you cannot predict a company's stock performance over the years, right? Similarly, based on the company performance, the variable pay may or may not be 100%, right? So those are uncertain things, right? So always your focus should be on negotiating well in the base salary, which is your fixed component. Okay, while it's not easy, because the recruiter also knows that you're going to do that, right? But at times, we are so naive, we just get into that conversation, and we end up saying yes to things which are variable, or which are more on the stock options side. Well, at the end of the day, it all counts in your package, but it's not in hand salary, it is uncertain. So I just wanted to make sure that that point is registered in your mind. Okay, so yeah, I mean, these are some of the things, very basic and very important things that you should use during a negotiation. I hope you found all of this information helpful, and it will help you in your next job offer negotiation. Do share this with your friends and relatives, or whoever you think might find this useful. Thank you so much for your time. I will bring some useful information like this next week. Till then, goodbye. See you next week. Bye.